All right. What's up, everybody? Let's see. Got Wi-Fi. My ugly mug is in the picture. Hopefully, audio's on. Today is Sunday. Some day in late February. I've lost track at this point. My goodness. Welcome to another episode of the Vigilant Podcast. We're trying out the name Adventures in B2B Marketing. And you might be thinking, if you're one of the few dozen people that have listened to the first 10 episodes that were soft launched here, why do they keep changing their name? Because no one's listening and we're finding market product fit. We're going to market. It's a process that requires refinement uh, as part of the process. So who cares, right? Are even the people that are listening are um, they're here so early that they're the kind of people that like being behind the scenes. They like seeing things unfold. So no one's gonna really be bothered by it. And there was a topic I kind of settled on that I wanted to talk today. So yes, the world. What a mess, right? Um, I personally bought into the climate catastrophe myth when I was a kid. And I'm not saying that climate change isn't real. Um, I'm saying my generation was the first to quickly become aware, or more clearly become aware of all the major problems with the Earth. And so, I used to have this what I thought was clear, but it was just new, but a coarse understanding of the problems in the world. And as I've grown 32 years so far, about, I've realized I've gotten to see problems more granularly in certain areas, right? Things that I'm passionate about. And regardless of your politics, we can all agree on the fact that shit's not perfect, right? We're far from perfect. We've made a lot of progress from the caveman days of 3 generations ago, practically, but there's just too many poor people, there's too much drug use, there's too much dismay in the world, right? Malnutrition. We're not nearly enough of us are living in any sort of peak lifestyle. Well, sure, we have these creature comforts, but as soon as you get those creature comforts situated, you start thinking about the deeper issues in life. And so pick an institution, it needs upgrading, right? We can all agree on we're not happy with the way things are, and if you are happy, you've been fortunate enough to be sheltered from the brutality of the world, right? I mean, from the wars to the environmental issues, acidification, plastic oceans, Fukushima, you know, desertification, exploding opioid use, exploding name it, massive abortion rates, depression, a lot of things are not good. And I believe, and maybe you believe in it too, that we have to how do I say this? That the best way to organize people and bring a new solution to those who need it is through commerce, right? There's no easier ways. There's no better way I can see that one can pr- produce or make a solution or provide a solution and get it to the people that need it. And at the core, that is what business is ultimately. And as our market shifts, there's a new economic center rising in Asia, um, joining the middle class. Over 50% of the world will be a part of the middle class by 2020, roughly. And those people will take care of their base necessities and start thinking about their deeper issues in life. And so there's this new economy growing. And if you align your business with it, you get tailwinds to your back and they propel you forward. If you are against it, which or unaware of it, let's assume we all have good intentions here. If you're unaware of it, you can get blown off course, or you could be running into a great and nearly invisible force of resistance. Um, and so, what we want to do here at Vigilant is vastly simplify the commercialization of new products, B2B products in particular, industrial, commercial products. I think there's a huge opportunity for companies that want to make other businesses more efficient, healthier, um, productive, um, profitable, um, less risky, what have you, benefit them in some way. And the problem is when you have a new product and you're going into a new market, hopefully you have just one or the other you're trying to solve, you tend to hit a wall. And this wall is the ad agency world. Because you need reach, you need distribution and all that. Let's put the operations aside, but you need awareness in the marketplace. You need to educate your buyers. You need a whole slow moving and large apparatus to be built to scale your revenue and your growth and your sales, because the bigger your solution, the bigger the impact, or the newer it is. Either you gotta sell educate people for a long time until they buy, or the sales cycle itself takes a long time. Worst case scenario, it's a lot of education and a large sales cycle, and this is a problem that I see in getting, how else would we say it, upgrading the earth. There's all these beautiful, wonderful commercial products sitting around, being made by fantastically passionate and competent people that are making incredible stuff. I mean, whatever problem you think the world has, there's 10 teams working on the solution trying to sell it, but they're more focused on making it first. And so what we're going to see is this huge wave of innovation pretty much come out of nowhere. Even though it's been in the garages, so to speak, for the last 10 to 30 years, getting uh, the many bugs worked out of it, right? And so I know, you're probably sitting there with this wonderful solution, whether it's software, hardware, service, what have you, right? Healthcare industry, waste management, education. It doesn't matter. It's the same problem. New idea into a slow moving and large industry. How do I get there? And so typically you've had to turn to an ad agency and, okay, do my website, do my social media, put me out there, for Christ's sake. You guys know how it works. I don't have the time to learn. Here's a check, make it happen, right? Whatever like scale or stage you are in that process of going to market. And what most of us find is that ad agencies don't know shit. And they charge an arm and a leg. And if you are an ad agency that knows what you're doing, you're so overburdened and inundated with client requests that you get to pick whomever you want to work with. And as a service, you don't have a high margin item or a highly scalable service, and so you like to get as large a margin as possible, and that limits, that tends to limit you towards certain companies. So new companies with less money have even almost no chance in hell to work with the right digital ad agency or ad agencies in general. And B2B is even harder than B2C. Anybody can put a megaphone on and scream at everybody, right? You dump enough money into a Super Bowl commercial, and if you know everybody wants your product anyway, you get out to everybody with one 30-second spot. That's not the case in B2B. Everyone who's watching the Super Bowl what tiny, less than a percent for sure, fraction of that audience is your buyer potentially. And each one of them, whether they're in a different industry or a different business in the same industry or a different role in the same business, they have different concerns because B2B products tend to touch multiple parts of the business and have to have buy-in from multiple stakeholders and the whole C-suite typically, more than less, right? And so you would need dozens and dozens of Super Bowl commercials just to reach few people. And of course, the economics are absolutely insane. It would never work. So you turn to specialty publications. But the problem is by the time it takes to get one ad out the door, you are taking your best shot. And you don't have the feedback loop to know what worked or what didn't work about your marketing. And when you do figure it out, finally, it's taken forever because you just have to sit and wait for the business to roll in. Typically, you don't get to wait and sit around. You just got to keep cranking out ads, publications, press releases, and so on until finally you hone in on something that works. So you never get that positive feedback loop. You're shooting in the dark, and it's miserable. It's hard, and it's slow, and it's expensive. Because there isn't a lot of competition in different niche media spaces. There isn't a lot of money to be made, right? There isn't enough money to be made in dental equipment publications to warrant a dozen well-funded, slick companies competing. No, right? So then you turn to technology and software, and you realize, if you're lucky, fast, that you need an ABM program, an account based marketing program. That we have specific people we know we can sell to because we solve their issues well, and we've studied their problems, and we know that our solution would work for them. And a portion of those key accounts are in a sales cycle at any given, or in their buy cycle matches up with your sales cycle. Let me put it that way. At any given time. So random percentage of them, or maybe not random, but some percentage of them are looking to start sales conversations any given quarter, right? Not everyone buys at the same time. It's impossible. And the fewer the buyers, the more discreet the um, sales conversations are. And so you get into this conundrum. How do I reach all these different people with different messages at scale and then know what the hell's working, what's not? So typically you go to this ad agency and they're gonna blow your money and not know your industry as well as you do. So the best case scenario is you guide them very closely, but that takes a dedicated staff member. It's very hard for a single VP of marketing of a young B2B company to manage all of the decision making processes that you would require to really get the most out of an ad agency engagement. So you're paying your ad agency a couple $100,000 easily to make creative work, to make the flyers and the templates and the website and all this stuff. But there's no, if you rely on them to put the content into that creative, they have a template of a design for a brochure for a trade show, you're gonna get crap, right? Because they don't know your buyers like you do. They don't know your buyers like the least educated person or the least knowledgeable person on your staff knows the buyers in your industry. So you have to still put the copy out, which is a ton of work. So you might get a copywriter, and then you might want to help with the graphics and get a graphic designer, and you might want to get a social media person to help manage that part of it. Because even when they're making the social media ads, they're someone has to make the creative of the ad, the copy of the ad. It's just like a magazine ad, and then someone else has to distribute it and get the right placement for it. And sometimes it's one agency, and sometimes it's a media buyer and an ad agency, and you're a person. So you got these three buckets. The third being the technology. You know that technology helps you scale hard processes and increase the cycle of learning, but you go and you open that door, and it's like 7,000 board games fall in your head, and then you have to pick up the pieces and pick the right board game and find the right pieces. But unfortunately, there's not one vendor that supplies everything you need. Even if there is, you get the oldest by going with someone who has the few people that have one of everything. You get the oldest parts and pieces because they're building the whole thing and they don't have time to focus on optimizing each little piece because you typically need 4 or 5 softwares to put together to make an entire marketing technology stack. And that might take you 6 months to realize because you're getting good ads, but they're not turning into sales. You got a good website, but you're not seeing any traffic. You got good content, but it's not converting or it's not being consumed. You got a good email list, but there's no email or a subscriber list, but this emails aren't selling, right? And so you realize, wait a second, I got 3 giant dumpster fires. I got the creative vendors I got to bring on to speed up my cycle of making content and creative. And then I have extra staff I have to bring on to manage that relationship and those new business processes. And then I need technology to take that content and spread it out. And so I don't have to spend, uh, hand everything over to an ad agency. I can bring some of it in house with software. Oh, but then I need extra staff to manage that software. And one person better fucking know how the whole thing fits together, or else you're just throwing money out the window. You got a leaky system, right? Like an engine that's leaking gas. It's barely going to turn over. So you're like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do here? This is insane. I'm spending $1 million a year and I'm barely getting results. And my salespeople are still going out there, banging down doors, hitting the pavement, doing it old school, and maybe they're getting supported. They're seeing a 10% bump in their efficiency or sales by um, social media. And if you're really good, you might see 30%. I'm spending $1 million, $2 million a year. I'm not getting anything for it, right? This is where Vigilant comes in. We have completely automated the whole process. So you don't need to do any of this. You just call us, we talk, we'll get it figured out, and we set it up for you. So instead of taking $1 to $2 million and a year to get 1 to 3 years to get an ABM process program up and running, efficient, effective, we can do it in 1 quarter for a fraction, a tiny fraction of that cost. We can do it so it's all hands off. You can control some of the process. We will always deliver the best results possible at any given stage. We have an algorithm, a set of tools that optimizes content, uh, automates content production as well, and I should say automates and optimizes every aspect of the B2B marketing process because it's 2019. Okay? And everyone else is doing it wrong. If you have to pay $20,000 a month for a B2B or ABM automation program, and then you have to run it yourself, and you have to go get the content yourself, this is the problem. People think they have an ABM program just because they got a box of software. That's almost like thinking you have a house because you got a box of software, right? Processes are not included in any of these solutions. We, on the other hand, have created such an efficient process that we will run it for you. Don't worry about it. And we offer that, okay, for certain companies if you want to do it. But it's so much simpler to go with us. You get your content made, the right content, it's distributed properly, it's converting properly, it's attributing properly, it's doing everything you need it to do. It's not, um, like, it can be as uh, customized as you want it to be. Okay? There's an all in fee, you just do it. I mean, we're working with 3 beta customers right now. We're looking for 3 to 5 more for the rest of the year, and we're gonna just shower whomever those people are with our enterprise level solutions. So we're targeting mid market and enterprise B2B firms. with an automation platform, a true automation platform, and a done for you service. So, in my vision for all this is to make B2B go to market 1,000 times easier, 10 times faster, 10 times cheaper, 10 times more efficient. 10 times 10 is 100, times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 times better. We got it 10 times faster. We got it almost 10 times faster. We got it 10 times cheaper. Uh, you know what? It's working. We're on our way there. We're over 10 times better in than we are than our alternative now. Maybe not 100 times yet, but we're brand new and it's already far better than anything you can get on the market. And it's a travesty. I can't believe that these well-funded, uh, hyper intelligent startups have missed the proper way to do it. So it's kind of crazy. Um, let's see. I got a battery warning. You know what? We're just gonna run the brakes off this thing. So if you want to learn more, vidulant.com, VIDULANT. The people that I'm working with, I get to announce soon. They're fucking fantastic. They're unbelievable people. Unbelievable people. I am astonished that we're all working on a single project together. It's going to change the world because people have, like yourself, you have these great ideas, great products sitting in your office ready to be engaged with. And we know how to automate and, and optimize delivery of that message to your buyers in the format that they want to consume it in, and ultimately lead them or keep you in top of mind for their entire customer journey, the buyer's journey. And at scale, it does rely on your ad spend, but you can only handle so many leads anyway, and so you don't want to between the your sales force's bandwidth and typically rather most of our universes are pretty small. 100,000 buyers is pretty large. Um, uh, when it comes down to it. And so you don't need a ton of ad spend. And anyone who's doing it otherwise is doing it wrong. Okay? They're doing it wrong. If you're not drowning in leads, then you're doing it wrong. And, we're going to have our case study coming out soon for our beta customers. If you want that sweet, sweet enterprise grade service for a mid market B2B firm, at the mid market price, we got a limited set of slots that we can manage that 3 to 5. So we'll see who gets there first, and then it'll be more freely available Q1 of next year. So pretty exciting, pretty exciting. We have a lot of free content coming out. These daily shows, or these weekly shows, and a training program. And the training program might be bundled with our first, our first and probably only standalone service, which is like a marketing attribution dashboard or portal. So you can see into your marketing and know what the hell is working and what is not, so you can focus your limited resources, because we all have limited time and budget, on what is going to produce the most ROI for your company. And you don't have to use our services. Obviously, this is just for anybody that is participating in digital marketing. And we hope that this helps with the training that'll be bundled with that. We hope it helps all the smaller B2B firms that we can't work with yet, as we have to focus on where our margin is healthiest given our very nascent stage. And so as our technology gets more robust, it'll scale out to everybody who wants to use it in the B2B world. But for now, this is the best way we can help everybody. And to get this kind of dashboard, you literally would have to pay $5,000 a month for a business intelligence firm to come in and grab this little bit of data. I mean, nobody's doing it right. I can't believe you can't go get a true marketing attribution dashboard off the shelf. It's absurd. It's absurd. So, we're luckily, I guess, or unluckily, I don't know. No one's been doing it right, so here we are. We're gonna flip the script here. Do I wish other people were doing it right? Yes. Maybe it's just with the confluence of technologies and market opportunities that now is the right time to be able to, first time to be able to do it right on the internet. The internet's kind of hitting its stride, and maybe we just get to be the first. So I don't wish business challenges on anybody, but I am grateful to be the one solving this, and who gets to become a billionaire helping other people. I find that a very, very exciting idea. So we are here. We're here to help. It's going to be fine. Anybody's got a B2B product that wants to go to market. We're going to get your product to market faster for less, and we're going to get you better results than if you were to not use us. Whether you're going to use our free training, our paid training, our marketing attribution portal, or our full set of services and solutions, we're going to help everybody we can. And it's going to be a fun ride. So make sure you check out all our content, adventures in B2B marketing. Follow us as we build our B2B marketing empire and go up against juggernauts in the industry, and fucking dance around them because they don't know what the hell's going on. Smart engineers over there, terrible business leaders. And the sales folks are caught in between. So I don't blame anybody but the leadership for not knowing what the fuck is going on. Luckily, we get to make billions and billions of dollars doing it right, so I'm not really complaining. Thank you for not knowing what you're doing out there in B2B marketing world. And yeah, check us out next week. We might have some news to announce. I don't know if it'll be that quickly, but got some incredible co-founders joining Vigilant. Incredible. Really good people and highly talented and passionate. This is the crew that you want thinking about your B2B marketing, scaling it and optimizing it for best return. So, with that said, vigilant.com. Check us out. Vidulant, the only complete ABM automation solution in the marketplace. And if you want free training, go there. There's a tab on the top right, vigilant.com